All right, welcome back again. We're talking about selecting, and while we're on the subject here, I wanted to show you something. Um, you can see this bizarre selection we've got here. Now, we're using the selection tools, which are harmless. They do not change anything, they merely pick it up or put it down. But here's the move tool. So let me point something out to you. If you are um, if you're on the elliptical marquee tool, for example, and you're out here and you have that, add to selection button pushed, this is what you see, right? You just kind of see that and you can do it wherever you want to and so on. But what happens if we click the move tool, right? I want to move my selection somewhere. I click the move tool, I come out here, and then if I hold down the mouse and start to pull, I'm actually cutting, right? That's the default on this. Now, a couple things worth noticing here. So the background turned white. Why did that happen? Well, I'll show you that in just 1 second. Why don't we undo this, right? Control Z, Control Z. Now, we're good to go. We're safe and sound. Let me Control D to make sure nothing is selected. Now, the background was white because these are your colors over here to the far left near the bottom. Black is the foreground color and would paint if we used a brush. White is the background color, and that's why we saw white. If I switch them with this neat little toggle here, you will often need to go back and forth, and this is handy for that. If I switch them that way, and I go ahead and select some Homer out here, and then I go back again with the move tool, and I drag, you can see now it's filling in with black. All right, there's some really subtle and cool things that Photoshop can do with removing content from a place, and we'll show you some of those. They're really kind of fun to play around with. Meantime, let me deselect that. And I'm going to close up Homer here without saving, and I'm going to move on to some different documents that present some slightly different challenges. Or actually, you know what? Yeah, let me, I'll leave him running in case I want to come back. All right. Here we have something that's a little bit more subtle. So if you wanted to use elliptical and rectangular in here, kind of hard to say exactly why that would be essential to you, right? So let's look at a couple of the other ones and then see how we might actually reasonably combine things. So below the elliptical and rectangular marquee tools, we have the lasso tool and its cousins, polygonal lasso tool and magnetic lasso tool. So the lasso tool literally surrounds something to capture it. Here we go. We got that, right? Here we go again. We got that. Let's get his feet, right? Let's get the books. So the lasso tool surrounds things. Now, you have to hold it down while you're doing this, right? Let me Control D. So for example, if I want to get this arm right here, I have to go all along the edge of the thing, being kind of careful. I'm doing a terrible job, by the way. Going around stuff and so on until I'm back to where I started, where I can release. And it closes its own gap at that point. It will close the gap from wherever you let go to wherever you started. Now, this thing, by the way, what color would the background be if I grabbed that arm and moved it? It would be black, right? Now, I actually did a terrible job with that, and let me show you what you should do instead. If you're going to work with the lasso tool, for example, here's a key idea. Work close. It's a lot easier to do an exact job when everything is 4 times as big, right? I couldn't even see this level of detail when I was zoomed out at that other side. So one of the really important techniques in Photoshop is if you want to do pretty good work, you probably ought to get close to what you're doing. Now let's see what that actually looks like from full size, right? So Control 0, there's his hand selected. All right, I'm near the end of my time, so I'm going to jump back in again in a minute with some more.